Gary, cold open question of the week.
Yes, sir.
I saw this on Twitter today. Well, formerly known as Twitter, now known as X.
Okay.
Would you rather $500,000 a year working 60 hours a week at a job or $80,000 a year in passive income with no job? And what would you choose and why? You know what passive income is, correct?
No.
All right. So passive income would be like royalties. Like say you're Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah.
You wrote this song when you were, 24.
Yeah.
And here you are, you're 84 and you're still making money off of it.
You're still getting, okay. So you're getting 80,000 plus you're getting some royalty stuff. And
well, no, it's 80,000 a year in passive income. So you're not working on it. It's almost like a fixed income, but for stuff you've done already, or it's passive. It just kind of comes in.
I'm just getting money. Man, I guess I could live off of that. I could probably deal with that one. I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to work 40 hours, let alone having to work 60 and getting $500,000. That just seems like, no, I think I'd rather just, then I could do other stuff and maybe make like some extra money on the side, really like this.
Well, no, you're just living off the 80,000.
Oh,
that's the question. You can't get a part-time job.
Well, no, I didn't mean a part-time job. I meant like, doing stuff like this where you're just bringing in, like, you possibly might bring in some money or whatever. Doing a little podcast action. Not that it would bring any money in, but you never know. If I had more time and stuff, but I would take that one because I don't want to work 60 hours a week for $500,000 a year. I'm good.
What job have you had where you've worked the most hours a week? Have you a job where you work 50 hours a week, 45 hours a week?
I've never had a job like that. I mean, I've had it where like maybe once in a while you have to work like a little bit of overtime or something. I mean, this one I mean, I'd say to start this job out, I probably first couple of weeks I probably worked about 45, 50 hours. So yeah, most of my other ones I never really had to. I think Outback, I'd get some overtime every once in a while, but that was like only like maybe like end of the month, maybe beginning of the month too, closing and stuff like that. But
yeah, I don't know if I could work. I probably could work 60 hours a week if it was something I really loved. 60 hours a week. Like if I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. Now, if you're going to preference it that way, and it's say I'm like, okay, I'm just bartending, and I'm making $500,000. I'm like, yeah, I'd work 60 hours a week bartending and make $500,000. I'll live with that, but I wouldn't be able to, like, not what I'm doing now. I'd be burnt out.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we'll touch a little bit more on this later in the show. Let's get the show started.
All right.
Brian Lennon Show, episode 65. All right. Welcome in to another exciting episode of the Brian Lennon Show. I'm your host, Brian Lennon. As always, joined by my co-host, Gary McDaniel.
Hello.
And we are joined live in the studio by my daughter, Ruby, who you may have heard her choking on popcorn earlier. And we have Sarah Beth, the cat, to my left here. But she is sleeping.
We are...
The way you talk is so annoying, actually.
Gary, I got a haircut.
No, you didn't. You got hair chop.
I got.
This in the picture here.
Yeah, you got a hair chop.
Yeah. So, how do you think it looks? How do you think it looks?
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Well, I hadn't cut my hair in a while, and it was probably the longest it's been in a few years.
Yeah.
And then last week at work, we had new air conditioning put in at work, and the men who put the new unit in were traipsing through our office with their muddy work boots. And so there were these, boot prints all over our carpet. And we had like closings coming up. So the owner wanted the carpets cleaned.
Yeah.
But the landlord said, I can't get anyone out there till Friday. And this was like Wednesday or something. Tuesday, I think it was. So I kind of took the initiative and I'm like, well, I can rent a carpet cleaner. We'll get the carpets cleaned.
Yeah.
So I went to Walmart, got the rug doctor, and came back to the office. So I cleaned the carpets, and it was very hot. So I was sweating, and I'm not in the greatest shape. So I was really perspiring, really sweaty. So I had like the long hair in the back, and it was just like soaked. And it just didn't look good when, like, if a breeze came and blew my hair, it would be standing up. And I'm like, maybe this is a sign I gotta cut the hair. Plus, if anyone reads the newsletter that I write, I came across a gentleman, Albert Brooks, who has like a clean shaven head as well. So sort of inspired me to just go ahead and cut it off. But the other thing, Gary, is haircuts up here. I don't know how much it costs you to get your haircut. It's $20 for a haircut.
Yeah, I'm probably about 24, 25. Yeah.
Okay, so it's $20 plus I usually give a $5 tip. So $25 to cut
nothing.
And that's part of the reason I don't get my hair cut as often as I should.
Yeah.
But by work, there's this Empire Beauty School. And they offer a clipper cut for $9.
Yep.
And they offer evening hours. So evening appointments.
Oh, that's nice.
Because what happens is if you get out of work at 4:30, the barbershop's closed at 5.
Yep.
Saturday you go there, everybody and their cousin is there. And you're paying $25 for this. So I think I found my my new spot to go to. Yep. Plus I help, someone out to learn how to cut hair.
Training, yeah. And I mean, it's good. And it's like, especially for like that type of haircut. You're only going in for a buzz.
Stop.
Perfect. I mean, you don't want $9 for that. That's perfect. I mean, unless you really want to get down and dirty and do it yourself. But then sometimes that's hard because you don't see spots and you miss it. So
and I like to have my neck clean and
all that but. So, I mean, something like that, perfect. I mean, yeah, you don't want to spend $25 to go in and be like, yeah, give me a 5 on top or a 1 on top and whatever. And it's like, now you're paying $25 for something that's like, that takes 2 seconds to do. Yeah, that worked out perfect.
Oh, the Stanley.
Yeah.
The Stanley Cup.
Oh, Ruby likes your Stanley Cup.
I don't like it. Bernie got one.
Just got it this past weekend.
Now, what's in it?
Water.
I doubt water.
Oh, it's water.
Water?
Yeah.
Have we?
I mean, I drank over the weekend, and like the last days, I've been just so beat down, tired. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should take a night out. So last night too for our tailgater show. I was drinking water as well.
Oh.
So I've been So, I know it feels unnatural, but.
So you've joined the whole Stanley Cup revolution here.
Well, I was using I always had my Tervis cups. I always had, and then I started doing the circle. We bought those circle ones that has the.
Joey has one of those.
Yep. So about those, because like me, like sometimes just plain water just is, it just doesn't do it for me. So I we tried it, and I love that thing. It's great because it's just that little bit of flavor to the water. But we were in the store. Shannon had one of these, and she liked it, and she goes, "Oh, I should just get one too." I'm like, "All right." Plus, it's a lot easier to carry than my circle one. So I figured the circle one would be. I'll use that for other times because it's a lot. The one
And
I got
that's
is the 42 ounce for the circle, so it's a huge ass thing. So
okay.
it doesn't quite fit in my cup holders in the car. So
Now, does the Stanley Cup fit in a cup holder in your car? Oh, it's tapered.
yeah, so we got at the bottom. We got one of the bigger ones too. So
And the other great thing is you could put a Gary drink in there.
oh, okay.
And because you can't see in it, you can go to a baseball game or a hitting practice or something and still enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that will happen at some point.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have I don't know. I have a bunch of random stuff to kind of talk about this week, Gary.
Yeah.
Let's start with for our UFO our UFO fans. I've been spending more time on X at work than I have.
Yeah.
And actually this came off of a podcast I was listening to. It's a hashtag space is fake.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So apparently there's a whole kind of community on the internet. And these people are, I guess, similar to flat earthers. I'm not sure if they're one and the same, but apparently there's a large contingent of people who believe space is fake. And I saw a clip of the astronauts in the I'm not sure if they were in the shuttle or in the what do you call that, space station.
Okay.
And they seem to be like floating.
Yeah.
And then there is a guy who comes in like the side of the screen to like grab something. And then like disappears. Are you familiar at all with the hashtag space is fake?
No, I've never heard of that one. And I'm on X pretty much every night before I go to bed, so I have not seen any of that yet. So
Type.
Well,
you might not want to do it tonight because you'll be up all night.
I'm sure we're talking about it, so I'm sure somehow it'll appear in my
oh yeah,
in my my news feeds tonight when I'm scrolling through.
Yeah. Now I know there's been theories that the moon landing, like the initial moon landing, was filmed in like a studio.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any truth to that, Gary?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility.
It's hard to think that was 55 years ago.
Yeah.
And that we had the technology back then to send someone up to space, up to the moon, land it, have them get out, have all the cameras working, get back in, come back.
Yep.
First time, everything worked like a charm.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we just lost an $80 million fighter jet here on Earth.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of hard to believe, I guess, thinking about it now. I mean, I'd say back then people were probably like, "Oh, yeah, it was a very exciting time, getting to the moon, all this stuff." But yeah, and then you think about it, we've never gone back.
Right. Well, we did go back, but
attempted to go back a couple times. But I know.
No, I think more people. I think we went to the moon again. I don't think we went just once.
I thought that was it. That was the one time. I thought it was supposed to be Apollo 13 was supposed to be going back to the moon, and then all that happened. So I thought we were only there once.
Well, a quick Google search will tell us. There were 6.
Moon landings or 6?
6 moon landings.
Okay.
Between 1969 and 1972.
Huh. Okay.
And then the odd thing too is like it just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. So whether they got all the information they needed from the moon, those 6 decided they didn't really need to go back for anything, and then I guess it's very. I don't know. I'm not a big. I mean, I believe there's space. Yes, I believe there's all that. I mean, what is it? Just a big projector then that's up there showing all this certain stuff in the sky. But I mean, I believe there is, yes, but I don't know. The whole moon thing. I mean, that could have been a hoax.
The moon hoax. There is when you go tonight to search space is fake. You'll see that there's people who do tests with different gases and all that stuff that prove and vacuums that we couldn't exist, I guess, if there was a vacuum in space, which apparently there is, because a vacuum would suck everything up.
Yeah.
So that's part of what the space is fakers are leaning on.
Okay.
Maybe we could find a space is faker to come onto the podcast and give us a breakdown of why space is fake.
Explain it a little bit better. I think there's just a lot of kooky people out there. There really
yeah.
It's like they just seem to have like I have like real no interest in space exploration of any sort. I could care less. Been to the moon. I could care less if we go to Mars. I mean, the only time I'm going to care is if they're like, "Hey, we got to leave this planet now. Everyone get on these ships." All right, fine. I'll deal with that. But I'm not. I just don't. Whatever. There's no. It's like the ocean too. I have no desire to do deep sea diving or any of that stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm good. I want to stay where I could just breathe the air and not have to be wearing a helmet of any sort to protect me.
All right. Speaking of kooky people and water, one of the things you'll find, Gary, is if you visit Space is Fake on X, and we've talked about this, and you were more in tune to this than I was even. Was the whole Maui fires and the clapback that Oprah and The Rock are still getting, asking normal folk like you and I for money, especially in the current state of the economy. And I guess it came out that apparently Oprah has purchased or is looking to purchase parts of the Maui Island that were not impacted by the fires.
Okay. Are they near where they were, or are they just?
Well, I mean, it's an island, so it's
Okay, yeah. But, I mean, still, it could be a couple plots over where it was empty and no one to sell it.
Yeah, and then I think it was North Korea or China? Might have been China. Said that the fires were caused by the government, who were like practicing kind of a weather event. And so the U.S. government set that part of the island on fire, kind of in a mishap of this weather incident we were trying to create, that I guess we were testing to maybe use on foreign enemies.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've never heard that one. I've heard the lasers from space, on the satellites, where they use that to shoot down and start the fires that way. But I've never heard about any of the weather weapons.
Yeah. Weather weapons.
Interesting.
Weather would be a good way to kind of attack an enemy, like just what we saw in Libya over the last week with the flooding.
Yeah. Got that.
Russia flooded parts of Ukraine. They took out the dam.
Tornadoes or hurricane. There's some stuff up. So. Interesting. Pfizer has. I mean, movies where they had these things where they weather machines and things like that. So, as we haven't attempted anything of that sort. So, possibility that maybe we were.
Possibly.
Because you figure, hey, random storm, that's Mother Nature. That wasn't us. We couldn't have done that. So, good weapon. You could make it work.
So maybe that weather balloon that China flew over our country was really just a reconnaissance to create weather.
Could have been. Yep. Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's Gary. So the book I was reading this past week, actually he was on a podcast with Tim Ferriss. His name is Albert C. Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
And he has actually, to tie in with Oprah, he has a book coming out with Oprah. It might have come out this week or it's coming out next week. And he's a social scientist. He's also an economist, but he's also a musician. He played the French horn in like the Barcelona Symphony. He's very interesting. I enjoyed listening to him. And I'm reading his book currently called From Strength to Strength. And it talks about kind of like as you grow older, you kind of reach your peak, especially like in your, say, chosen career or chosen field.
Yeah.
And then you see kind of a dip in your productivity and he has a number of examples. Financial people who work in the financial world typically peak between like 35 and 44 or something. Like mathematicians, a lot of them are by the time they're 30, they'll peak. Contrary, historians will peak in their like 60s. And that's because they're accumulating all of this information over time and then using that to kind of process it and analyze it. And so by the time they're 60, they have a really firm grasp and understanding of history and how things interrelate with each other and what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is good news for my since he's a history major.
Yeah.
And he's only 21, so he has the next 40 years to. So I was, thinking about this in relation to my work career and what have you, because, we are closer probably to retirement age, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Than we are. When would you say was your like peak work-wise? Or do you think maybe you're at your peak?
No, I don't think I feel like I've reached my peak. I mean, like I said, I just kind of really got back into the accounting again after a couple of years off. So, I mean, and I've hit a new level of accounting, but I haven't gotten it to like the higher level yet. So I feel like I still got. I mean, I feel like I probably should have peaked by now if I stuck with it, or if I actually got my degree when I should have got my degree and all that. So,
And I'm sort of in the same boat with you, having the way my career has played out.
Yeah.
Because especially, as like a young manager, I was always striving for like the next promotion, the next raise.
Yep.
And it got me to a point, but then it kind of leveled off. And to me, I thought a lot of it had to do with the lack of having a degree. You just don't even get considered for those higher management positions.
Exactly.
I think the same thing happened to you where you were.
Yeah. I basically, I was stuck where I was. They wouldn't move me anywhere because of having a degree. Which, because I mean, when I first started in the accounting, there was like, you didn't really. I mean, if you wanted to become like a what we called a unit accountant or a staff accountant, yeah, they wanted you to have a degree. But the random accounting I was doing, you didn't really need anything. But then at one point, all of a sudden they just became degree hungry at that place. It was like you had to have a degree. They wanted people with CPAs doing some of these. Like, the job I was doing, like after I was let go, my position reopened back up again a few years, probably a couple of years ago. And I went on and I looked at the thing and I was like, man, I did that job for over 9 years and I'm not even qualified to do it right now. So I'm like, it's crazy what the changes that they made on it, and they were like, oh well, yeah, we'd like someone with a CPA or in this. I'm like, I did that 9 years. I did that job, and I can't even, I wasn't even qualified to do it again. So I was like, it's just crazy the way they looked at all that stuff. But I had a director when I worked at Outback, and he came in and he basically his his thing was, you do not move up to the next level
That was so gross.
right up. Like, you need to do 3 years in one level, and then after those 3 years, move to another position, the same level. Do that for 3 years. Then you would move up to the next level, another 3 years, and then shift over and do the same. So like, it was like it's like an AA and then a BB and then you become CC. So it's like, but I was like, man, by the time, like, if I had to do something like that, I'd be like 80 years old before I got to a high level in that place. So it was just like weird how his thinking works, you know? And I get where he was kind of going, where it was it's the learning experience, you know. You do one job, then you do another job in like the same, basically same pay, same like level. If you're like, say you're a junior accountant for accounts payable, then you should become like a junior accountant for accounts receivable. Then you would move up to like a uh, staff accountant doing another part of account. Like, that's how his mindset was. So, but I mean, I guess that's a good thing because then you're learning different aspects, and you're not just.
You were absent.
That was my problem with when I was doing the fixed assets for 9 years. It got stale. It was just like, okay, they're not moving me anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm getting my little whatever 3%, 1% raises at the end of the year.
Right.
And it's like the same job every day. It was just kind of getting boring. But the problem was that I took a job, kept me at the same level, but it should have been a little bit higher. They never changed my pay, and that was the thing because I did my degree, so they had all the
Joseph.
whatever.
That's
I
weird. His name's
was doing the work of a high level accountant, but not getting paid.
Right. Now the other part of this book, and I haven't finished it yet, is after you reach your peak and you start to come down, you still have other tools and things you've learned that can kind of lessen or kind of soften the curve.
Okay.
Other skills that you've picked up.
Yeah.
A perfect example would be you going into teaching for the brief while. You were able to use skills you've accumulated over, what was it, 16 years you were at
Yeah.
OSI, move that into, teaching.
Yeah.
And maybe that might be something you eventually go back to. Who knows?
That's always a possibility. But then now I take that as, okay, now my 2 years of teaching, I could look at now saying, hey, there's a management position that opens up somewhere. I could use my, hey, I trained children, teach the math. So I mean, like I was like a manager of a classroom. So it's like, so I mean, if I could train 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, I think I could handle 30, 40-year-olds. So, but, yeah, I mean, it's true. Every job you've ever, if you think about every job you've done in your life, you could take a part of what you learned at those jobs and add them to what you're doing now. So I mean, yeah, always learning.
And that's something that I've wrestled with for years, is just kind of like finding something that I enjoy, but also something that's fulfilling.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed the teaching. I did. It was, it was something different. It wasn't just me sitting in a cubicle typing numbers in every day or doing something like that. You got to interact and and you got to put lesson plans together and like and like what you're gonna do for that day and all that stuff. So, I mean, I enjoyed all that part. It was the people you worked with. That's what kind of dragged it down. I mean, that was the same. Like even the job prior to that, I didn't mind it. I had my own little office. I could shut the door if I didn't want to have anyone bothering me. But it was just I was stuck, and there was no, unless the controller left and you were had a higher enough education to where they would like even think of you as in that position. I wasn't going to go anywhere. I was basically so
right.
I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here. So, but I mean, I feel like this place now. I don't. I think it's going to get bigger. It's going to grow. We're adding more and more to it. So I'm like, I feel like at some point down the line, yeah, I might have like a couple people like under me or whatever, being like in a supervisor type. That's why I'm like, I'm not really.
And maybe be able to work from home.
And yes, and then doing that too. Yeah, that's even better.
Okay, this is the first one.
All right, Gary, you had some more home improvements done over the week.
We did. Yes.
I did. You did send us pictures, and I will share those on the show notes page for this episode. So if people want to check that out at thebrianlennonshow.substack.com. Overall, how did everything go with the installation of the showers?
Great. I mean, they're nice. The wife is happy. The tub and shower that's in our guest bathroom is completely fixed now. We used to have basically a problem with the drainage. So when you were in the shower or like standing in the tub taking a shower, you'd be
you were also taking a bath.
You were, yes. Your feet and ankles were actually taking a bath because it was like it would just it was horrible. You'd be in ankle deep water, so it was just bad. So when they came in to start tearing the stuff out and stuff, like my wife had mentioned something to him about it. She's like, we've snaked out the drain, we've went on the roof and cleared out the pipe that way. Nothing like that. It just when the guy pulled the thing apart, he's like, oh, I know what your drainage problem was. He goes, they only had like an inch and maybe a quarter pipe in there for the drain, and even like I guess the L-shaped part where then it would flow down into the two, where it's supposed to be like a 2-inch or 3-inch pipe.
Yeah.
So he was like, that's your drainage problem. So took a shower in there the other day. Actually, it was the day because you couldn't shower for a day after they did it. So when they were doing ours, I was able to take one in the new one, and I'm like standing there. I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, oh, there's no water. I'm not standing in water. I'm like, this is fantastic. And it's a new type of it's not tile. It makes it look like tile. Like it looks like there's the grout lines and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the guest bathroom, she picked the herringbone shape. So it's like kind of like you notice. So it's like kind of just whatever.
It's like a subway tile, right?
Well, the subway is in our bathroom that we put
In your bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
This other one was called like a herringbone or something. So, but it looks like it's tile, but it's one whole piece. So they go out, they cut it, and then they put one whole piece up on one wall, one whole piece up on another, and then but it's like an acrylic type thing. It looks like, I mean, when you look at it, it looks like tile, but if you walk up and like you tap it, it almost sounds like it's like could be like a plastic, but it's leak proof. I mean, there'll be no more like mold coming through the back end. No,
So did they take out your existing?
Yeah, they ripped everything out.
They ripped everything out. They don't they didn't cover something like a bath fitter.
Nope. Everything tub went out, tiles all got pulled out, and then they just with this too, you don't have to have like that special like board put up behind it. I guess there's a special like a waterproof almost like what's the heck is this
Like a sealant or something.
like the walls oh my god, what the hell are they called?
This is part of getting older.
Yeah. The sheetrock. Yeah, right? Sheetrock. So those boards usually you have to put like these waterproof ones in if you're just going to put tile up, so that way water doesn't get behind the wall and all that. But with this one, you didn't have to, so they just put the sheetrock up and then put this stuff over the sheetrock, and it's never going to leak behind the walls. It'll never get dirt. You don't even have to. All you got to do is wash it with water and vinegar. That's it. There's no having to like. There's. I guess you could use some. There's another specific cleaner you could use, but you don't have to like scrub it. Basically, take a washcloth or a sponge and wipe it down. So.
Now, was this like a franchise that put this in, or was it just like a individual owner, like a contractor?
She found them on. I think it was Angie's List. She found them on, and they are like I think they're a local, like just a mom and pop type. Like they just do it here in the area.
Now, what's the name of the product that they put in the showers? Do you know? Do you recall?
I don't know what it's called. The guy, he did say it's specific, but this was all Shannon's.
It was her project.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even care. Just tell me what I have to sign something, and then I'll just pay the bills. So that was it. But I mean, well, the guy was here for a couple hours when he was trying to sell it. We were just trying to get quotes, and I was like, oh my god! I'm like, I came outside. I was on the phone with my mother talking to her, and then I'm like, he's still here. I was like, yeah. And then at one point, I just told us, I'm like, I go just sign. I'm like, just sign something already, just so we can go. Actually, we had till Saturday to
Gary's way of getting rid of people just sign the paper.
Just buy it already. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with it anymore. Well, no, we had told us that Saturday to cancel if we didn't want it, but we were also waiting. I mean, we had the money. I could have paid it for up front and just done it, but we decided to do the finance anyway and just say, you know what, screw it, we'll just do that. It was interest free, and I'm like, well, then I don't have to spend. We won't have to blow all the money right up front, and I'll just pay portions of it here and there, and just go that route. So, but we were waiting. We didn't hear on Saturday. We didn't actually hear from anybody yet about the financing because they were. He was trying to do something else, and we didn't hear back from them. So I was like, all right, well then I guess you can go ahead and cancel. And that didn't happen. The guy actually, when she called him, Like, I'll find out, and then all of a sudden, you get phone calls. But no, I mean, it was worth it. It's really nice. I mean,
yeah, they look beautiful, and I noticed too you have bars now in the shower.
yeah. So the bathroom, the two original did have like towel bars. Actually, they were up higher, and this one they put them down lower, so that way, then yeah, when you're in there, you can hold on. Now the other bar that you guys had seen in our bathroom shower, the straight the walk-in shower, that was for Shannon for her shaving.
Oh,
I actually, it was originally he mentioned something about like one of those like seats you could put in there. I was like, ooh, yeah, put a seat in there, huh? But two of us wouldn't fit in that shower with the seat, so we barely fit in it now without. But yeah, so it's a shaving bar where she can just put her foot up on it and shave. So I was like, oh, interesting. All right.
Lots of benefits from this shower installation.
Yeah. They did raise the shower heads up too. So like they brought them up a little bit higher. I was like,
Okay, so they actually did plumbing as well in addition to it wasn't just cosmetic.
Yep, nope. They actually went in and did some of the plumbing work too. They moved those up. Actually, our shower that's in our bathroom, the walk-in one, used to have a step down. So they raised that up, and they put like another like a piece of flooring in there, and then now you step in instead of stepping down into it. So it's not like we were down, because we would get a lot of water like splashed onto the floor from doing that when it was lower like that.
Mm-hmm.
The shower curtain would like move and whatever, and so it actually worked out. Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, for the money we paid, they actually did more than just putting up some wall stuff and going in the tub. So
nice, that's exciting.
We have to now. We're gonna do the vanities ourselves and paint. So just the showers were done. The bathrooms aren't completely done. We have to now do the little cosmetic stuff.
Are you ready for news of the weird? Or do you want me to give you a minute?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's rock.
All right, let's do it.
Right.
And now it's time for news of the weird with your host, Gary McDaniel. All right, and live from Tampa, it's our newsman, Gary. What's news?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Bears raid a Krispy Kreme donut van making deliveries on an Alaska military base.
Ooh.
So, two bears on an Alaska military base raided a Krispy Kreme donuts van that was stopped outside a convenience store during its delivery route. The driver usually left his doors open when he stopped at the store, but this time saw and one of her cubs that loitered nearby sauntered inside, where they stayed for probably 20 minutes Tuesday morning. The bears chomped on donut holes and other pastries, ignoring the banging on the side of the van that was aimed at shooing them away. I was beating on the van, and they're not moving. I could hear them breaking open the packages and everything. They don't even care. Bears couldn't be roused. Base security was called and sounded sirens meant to scare away the bears. Bears eventually came out and wandered in front of the convenience store and gas station a bit before heading into the woods. It's not unusual to see bears on base or around the store, but nothing like this has happened before. Adding that the delivery driver now closes his doors when he stops at the shop. We're cautious when we come in, when we leave, when we take our garbage. We do it in pairs, especially if it's dark. We urge the public to use caution to ensure you are protecting your wildlife and yourselves. Wildlife may be our neighbors, but they should not
What is the point
attractive
of
to our
this
human.
splintered hole?
So,
How many calories do you think those bears ate?
ooh. I gotta say,
Because I know I can eat a lot of Krispy Kreme.
100. Oh, me too. I could slam down a box of Krispy Kreme. I love it.
Do you have Krispy Kreme down there?
Do you want Krispy Kreme? You could buy some from me
We
for
do.
$12.
Actually, there's an actual Krispy Kreme store right up off of 4th Street, not too far from here. I mean, they always have that sign in the window with the
Hot donuts, yeah.
I know it's all fake news. All right, and then our second story tonight: a Norwegian man needed a hobby. His new metal detector found a showy 1,500-year-old gold necklace. At first, the Norwegian man thought his metal detector reacted to chocolate money buried in the
Ooh.
It turned out to be 9 pendants, 3 rings, and 10 gold pearls someone might have worn as shoes 1,500 years ago. The rare find was made this summer by 51-year-old Erland Bohr on the southern island of Buenos near the city of Stavanger. Bohr had bought his first metal detector earlier this year to have a hobby after his doctor ordered him to get out instead of sitting on the couch. Old Madsen, director at the Archaeological Museum at the University of Stavanger, said that find so much gold at the same time is considered unusual. In August, Bohr began walking around the mountainous island with his metal detector. A statement issued by the university said he first found some scrap, but later uncovered something that was completely unreal. A treasure weighing a little more than 100 grams or 2.5 ounces. Under Norwegian law, objects from before 1537 and coins older than 1650 are considered state property and must be handed in. Associate Professor
What?
Pearson, yeah, that's crazy, huh? The museum said the gold pendants, flat, thin, single-sided gold medals called uh, bracteates, date from around AD 500 and so-called migration period in Norway, which runs between 400 and about 550. And there were widespread migration in Europe. Pendants and gold pearls were part of a very showy necklace that had been made by skilled jewelers and was worn by society's most powerful at Riserson. He added that in Norway, no similar discovery has been made since the 19th century, and it is also a very unusual discovery in a Scandinavian context. So, yeah, very interesting.
Wow. That's not fair that belongs to the state. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, what is that? Like, then you know what you should have done. Damn it.
Yeah. You know what, Gary? I got a letter in the mail this week from Toyota Finance. So the Honda Civic that I purchased back in 2018 is paid off. So I get this letter basically telling me, the loan is paid in full, but please send a check for, it's like $77.54 for miscellaneous fees and accrued interest and whatever. And I'm so aggravated because I set up this loan like through Toyota Financial.
Yeah.
And I was paying like $52 or $55 every week because the old job I had when I bought the car, I got paid weekly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to pay $55 every week so I don't like take a hit.
Yeah.
At the end of the month, like, oh, there's the $250, whatever. So how do I owe them anything when I'm paying this ahead of schedule? Because I made a payment every week. So I made extra payments every year.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of anything like that. I mean, if your loan is paid off, it's paid off. There should be no.
So then I call like the 800 number because I'm going to fight this.
Yeah.
I'm going to like cause a stink.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to ruin someone's day at work.
Exactly.
And the automated system is telling me the loan is closed. So then I'm wondering, do I owe anything?
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
So then I had to like request a statement, which they'll send to me in 10 to 14 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to end up having to call them tomorrow because, of course, they close at 5. So by the time you get, home, you can't talk to anybody.
I've never, I mean, I don't think I've never done a loan through like one of like the auto places. We've always either, well, I mean, we've done them through there, but it was always through some sort of bank.
Right.
And then I've always just, I mean, once that thing said 0, I was done. I've never seen anyone like ever, sending me anything saying, hey, you owe me this for it, like interest, especially if you were paying it.
Yeah, it's like accrued interest and miscellaneous charges. I'm like,
there shouldn't be anything like that because if you were paying it and like they were posting, especially if you're paying it weekly. So I mean, that means you were paying.
I was paying toward the principal, like.
Yeah, but I mean, but it was still. I mean, you're not paying the full. Like, okay, like right now, I say we had a loan for it was $250 a month. I was paying like $260, but I wasn't putting anything. Like I just paid the $260. I wasn't saying whether I put it towards this or put that. I just put $260 in, and then usually towards the end, it'd be nothing. Like now, Shannon's the old car that I'm driving right now. We have a small portion left on it. I went in the other day to go pay it for. This was August. I haven't had to do it for September yet, but I was going into August to pay. I'm on my bank getting ready to pay it. I'm looking. I'm like, it says bill's not due till October. I was like, what the hell? So I must have caught up so much where they decided they're like, oh, well, we'll just say you don't have to pay until October now. But I still pay it. I'm like, I don't care. No, I'm like, I want this thing over with. I'm like, so.
Right.
So yeah, so it's weird that like if you've been paying like that, so that means you were paying probably more than what your actual monthly payment was.
I was.
Yeah. So I mean, you should have nothing at the end.
Plus, because I was paying every week.
Yeah.
On the months that there's 5.
Oh, so you're
Fridays.
You're paying even extra.
I'm making an additional. Not only am I paying more than I would. Or needed to, but then I was making like additional payments.
So I mean, technically,
so how I owe them $77 is.
You should have been done early with your because that's usually what I do too. Is when I'm.
Well, I think this loan was supposed to be paid. Like I had it until like August of 24.
Okay.
So I've like paid it off.
Oh, so you're paying way early, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10 months early. I paid it off or something.
So yeah, so I would check that out because maybe it's a fraudulent letter you got too. They want you to send $77 in. And then if you do that, then they'll send you another letter saying, "Oh, we redid our things. You owe us $345, not the 77." Yeah, you'll get hit with something weird like that. But yeah, I would look into that one. That doesn't make any sense. Especially if you still have this loan technically for another year. So, I mean, you should have no interest or anything left on it. Well paid over.
Buy each sentence by.
I would, yep.
All right. Gary, I saw today that Tom Brady has a podcast.
Oh,
called Let's Go.
Oh, okay.
Have you listened to it?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know he had one.
Oh. Well, apparently Shedeur Sanders was on with his father.
Oh, okay.
Dion. and Dion was bringing up the fact that Shedeur Sanders is contemplating buying a Rolls Royce, and Tom Brady was quick to tell Shedeur Sanders he doesn't need a Rolls Royce. He needs to get in the damn film room.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, I was wondering if because you've never mentioned his podcast, so I was wondering if you had known about it.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah,
check that out. Yep. Also, Gary, the
whole Dion thing with those sunglasses.
What about it?
So I seen a news article. I think it was yesterday or whatever. It was right after that game. Whatever sunglasses Dion had on the field or whatever that day. The sales went up $1.5 million in those sunglasses because people just started buying them. I guess.
Yeah.
Like
he's amazing what he's done for Colorado college football. That game had 9 million viewers, and it was the 5th highest rated game ever on ESPN.
That was a late game too, so
yes, knocked me. I'm still feeling the effects of that game because I stayed up to watch it.
Oh my god.
The Rays are getting a new stadium, Gary.
I just seen that the other day. I was like, wow.
What's the excitement level there down in Tampa St. Pete?
You know what? I haven't really heard anything. That was the first time I seen it on online when I was scrolling. It might have been on X when I seen it, and I was like, oh man, they finally made a deal. I mean, they wanted out. They were leaving. They didn't care. They wanted to put it in Tampa. No one wanted to come over for it, but
now the area that they're putting the new stadium in, I heard it was like more of like a historically black community.
Of the one that they wanted in Tampa, or where they're doing it now?
No, the one that they're doing now.
Oh, the one that it's supposed to be like right near where the stadium is now. They're kind of.
Where are they building out? Is it going to be more of like a complex, like a destination?
I think that's what they're looking for. That whole area has changed within the last couple of years, especially like right after COVID. Like it's blown up. Like I mean, they put a whole bunch of new, like brand new, like apartments down that way. There are a ton of new restaurants, bars, breweries that have just popped up out of nowhere. I mean, it's gotten a lot. It's definitely getting more touristy, I guess you could say. But it's definitely building up a lot, like especially with the neighborhood. Like, because I mean, it was kind of. I'm not gonna say it was dumpy, but it was just there wasn't a whole lot to do. Like, I mean, it wasn't like there was a couple bars there you would go to, and then you would go over to the game, and that was it. Like, but now it's like there's, I mean, just the central and like even I think it was First South, I believe. I mean, they just put a ton of new stuff over there.
Because I guess attendance has been an issue for Tampa. I think the whole time they've been there, they don't draw very well.
No, because people don't want to drive from Tampa over to St. Pete. They always complained about the traffic, but they are building a brand new expressway now. That's going to come from Tampa over to this side. So I think that'll alleviate a little bit of problems. But I mean, they always put it they put it this way. Oh well, no one wants to drive all the way over to St. Pete to see a game from Tampa. But then that's most of the Tampa people. The St. Pete and our side aren't complaining when we have to drive over to Tampa to go to
see a Bucks
game or a Lightning game, and then like especially like where I mean with the Lightning are too, traffic down there is absolutely horrendous because it's downtown Tampa.
Now, are the Lightning in a new arena? Because they used to play where the Rays played, or am I wrong?
I think they started there before they built the Amalie Arena.
Okay, because when I lived there, I believe the Lightning played where Tampa plays, where the Rays play.
They had a game. I think they did one this year. They did one in Tropicana Field, like old times or whatever, and they had a game play in there. No, theirs is built right down by the port. So they built
Okay,
that. Like,
yeah, that must be new since I've.
Yeah. It's that whole section was kind of like Channel Side area. Like that whole section is like uh, fairly new. I think Emily was here when I came down, so I mean, it's been there for a little while. But yeah, but I believe you are correct. They started playing in like Propaganda Field stuff like that when they first started out.
And then one more exciting announcement, Gary. They announced the Royal Rumble will be coming to said Tropicana Field in January.
I found that out too. I was like, man, I'm like, ooh, nice. I'm like, all right, I have to check that one out. I see our friend John already is on the waiting list. He said so. I'm gonna have to look at that. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, because of course Ruby and I were supposed to come down for WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, and then COVID happened.
Yep.
And so when I saw they were coming back down to Tampa, I was like, January wouldn't be a bad time to go down to visit.
Huh?
Get out of NEPA in the end of January.
It's not ungodly hot down here.
Yep. Take a shower.
How do you spell opinion?
Snow. So.
Take a shower in the new showers.
Shave your legs.
Shave my legs. Shave my head.
Shave your head.
All right. A few more notes here before we head out, Gary, because we're not too late. My colonoscopy is Friday.
Oh boy. Okay.
This will be my second one I've gone for. This one is overdue, but COVID threw that, and I just refused to get it. So, but I'll be doing the. So I went to the store tonight to get my Dulcolax, my Miralax, my Gatorade.
Yep.
And I bought some Jell-O and chicken broth, so I have something to put in my stomach.
Yeah.
So the prep will start Thursday morning, and by Thursday night, by 8:00, everything should be clear, as the instructions say. So from probably like 5 to 8:00 Thursday, keep me in your thoughts and prayers while I.
So they have you starting yours early. Okay. When Shannon had to do hers, she had to start hers like later on at night. So like she was up all night running to the bathroom.
Well, the first time I went, I left work early because they wanted it to start at like 4. Okay. So I did that, and probably by 8:00, 8:30, I was done and everything was clear.
See, I wouldn't mind that. But I mean, when she did hers, like she was up all night, and I'm like, I don't want to be like, I'll be so damn tired. I'm like, what the hell? So, but that's why I haven't.
But I guess I'm not supposed to eat anything all day Thursday.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to have breakfast.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, it depends on what time you get up. Just start your thing a little bit.
But then, like, once I have my breakfast, I won't be able to eat anything.
Yeah.
And then my appointment, I guess, is not till 10:00 Friday morning.
Okay.
I have to be there, for 9:30.
Yeah.
So that, the Thursday night after I'm done will be a little hard.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday or Friday morning, not able to eat my usual.
Yep.
But I'll enjoy lunch, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I'm sure.
So
yeah, I gotta get mine scheduled sooner or later.
Yeah, well, I had to go early because my sister had colon cancer. Yeah. So, All right, Gary. I don't know if you heard the news up here in Northeast PA. There was a football player from Jersey Shore, Max Engel, who died over the weekend.
I hear that. No.
Okay. His name is Max Engel. He collapsed during the fourth quarter of a game earlier in the month. And the coroner's report states that he suffered intracranial hemorrhage related to blunt force trauma to the head. But it's unclear if he suffered the injury like during the game or maybe something preceding the game.
Okay. Is he a high school student or?
Yeah, 17 years old.
I know. You know what? This is probably the most high school football I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Very rarely went when I even was in high school. But and I'll like sit there watching these games and I'll I'll see some of these hits and I'm like, I don't know if they should be starting this early. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's still. I mean, I know they're coming out with a little bit better equipment, but I'm looking at these kids play, and I'm like, this equipment's probably still from the '70s or '80s that they have sitting out here. I'm like,
well, that's the thing I'm interested in, and I'm like contemplating on doing maybe like some actual like reporting on this.
Yeah,
because the helmets are supposed to be like certified. I think every few years. I think the PIAA, which is like the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, which governs high school sports, they require that. So my question is, was the equipment up to date? And again, we still don't really know what led to this, whether it was something that occurred during the game, like a hit, or maybe he slipped in the locker room before the game and hit his head. And didn't tell anybody or whatever, and so we don't really know, but it says a blunt force trauma to the head. My wife said it would probably be something similar to maybe what happened to Danny Tanner, Bob Saget. He just he must have hit his head at some point during the day. Went and laid down and never woke up. So, but it does make you realize, and I guess there was a whole rash of like different injuries in Pennsylvania where kids had to be flown to hospitals. And just like, and then you see what's happening with that Sergio. He played for the Patriots, that football player whose mother they found killed.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he posted something on Instagram or X. And it seems like he's suffering maybe from CTE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he killed his mom.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know. Like, I mean, they've tried. I mean, look at what happened to Chubb this on Monday.
Gruesome.
That guy went down low, and it was weird because like I didn't, and all of a sudden I was on X last night, and I was scrolling through, and someone had a little video clip of it, and I was like, oh god, I was like, no, like I flipped right through it. I'm like, I can't watch it. I can't even watch it again. I'm like, it was just so.
Legs don't bend that way.
Oh, they do not at all. And I was just like, oh, but again, there was no equipment malfunction in that injury. It was just a guy because he's not supposed to go up high anymore because you can't lead with your head. He went down with his shoulder down to his knee, which again, I don't understand why they do that either. I mean, just like, I know you're trying to stop the runner, but doing that, you're going to cause a problem. Either go even lower or go up a little bit higher, go to the waist. But it's just I don't know. The problem with football is there's no. I don't think there's really any. I mean, without putting them all in complete bubbles, just letting them run that way, that would be the only way. But it's a sport that's just it's a gruesome sport. So
Yeah, and I think the players are too big and too fast.
That's the other thing.
They're
Now they're jacking themselves up, and they're
they don't look right.
Yeah,
some of these guys.
Yeah, you look at a team now, and then you look at like a team from like the '60s, '70s, and they're like old. They look like they're old fat men, just like barely getting their uniforms on. And then now you got these guys; they're like jacked, where they look like they're like weightlift. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
it's causing the players a bunch of long-term problems because they're overweight with sleep apnea and probably blood pressure and all that stuff.
Yep. That's great.
So two other things before we finish up. And Gary, I know we've talked a lot about fundraising and stuff, but these I think are good causes. So there is a GoFundMe for Max Engel's family, and I'm assuming they're going to probably do something with with a scholarship as well for him. And everything I'm going to discuss here, there's links on the show notes. So if you wanted to, anyone who's listening, if you want to donate, you would be able to. Sunday, Gary, I hosted and called a purse bingo to benefit an area woman who's battling breast cancer. Her name is Jenna Ketton. There's a GoFundMe for her. So check that out. The bingo was a huge success. We got done in 2.5 hours, which was good. So it was scheduled for 3. And then my friend and former coworker, Mark Brewster, who was in, his band did the theme music to our News of the Weird.
Yep.
In the first iteration of this show, The Curse of Sorrow, Mark Brewster. He is in need of a kidney transplant.
Oh, geez. You should give it to
and it's going to be $50,000 for him to do that. So he has started a GoFundMe as well. So
link it in the description.
There's a link to that as well in the show
In
notes.
the description.
So, Gary, would you ever donate?
No.
No, would you donate a kidney?
He drinks. His kidney is really good.
Probably not. No one wants any of my organs anyway. They're probably all rotten. No, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I'd have to like. I don't think I could just to a random person. It'd have to be probably someone I knew.
Someone close to you.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know they say you could function with, but I'm good. Thank you. I'll keep right now.
All right. All right. I think that's all I have.
All right.
So that's it. Thank you for listening. My name is Brian Lennon. And thank you to my co-host and producer extraordinaire, Gary McDaniel. We'll catch you next week. Gary, it's cold up here tonight. I'm going to put my...
Why are you still talking like that? You're not on. You're not.